welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited that you all made it. I know traffic was really, really crazy. How many of you are coming from Broward? How many of you are coming from Dade County? Oh my goodness. So just super excited to have everybody here. Welcome to the Agile International Coaching Meetup. Those of you online, just want to make sure you guys can hear us and can see us. This is a hybrid event. So we've got how many people online, Rick?
About 2,000.
2,000 people online. Oh my goodness. I think we have close to like 40, right? Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So we're very excited. As you know, we are a global community and we are an Agile community, and we do Agile meetups and we do Agile conferences, and we do different types of events. But we wanted to share with you guys our vision, right? Why are we here? And what do we believe in? So we've got our vision is we believe in creating the most engaging and empowering Agile community in the world, right? United in our journey to foster growth and a continuous improvement mindset, because we are Agile and we're about continuous learning and continuous believing in ourselves and personal growth. And that's why we're here, right? And that's why our online community meets every week. They come and they learn. And, you know, we've got people that are looking for jobs, people that want to network. We've got opportunities for everybody, and also for you guys to learn from each other and support each other as a family, which is what we are. We're an Agile community family. And what do we believe in, right? So these are our meetup. We meet every week online. We're trying to do this in person more often, right? So that's why you guys are here. We really appreciate it. But what do we believe in? We believe in having fun, number one. If you're not here to have fun, please go home, because we are number one to have fun. All right. Now, we want to be open to new ideas, learn from each other, right? Be engaged, be present. There's no wrong question, guys. Be courageous. And we're here to learn. A lot of you are in different stages in your life. You're in different stages in your career, right? So we're here to learn from each other. And continuous improvement mindset, man. We're Agile and we're relentless about learning every single day and growing regardless of our age, our gender, who we are, where we come from, or where we're going, right? So this is who we are. We're going to be presenting this every meetup. Rick, Nelu online, our Agile community online. We love you guys. We wish you were here. And if you were here, you'd be hugging everybody, because that's what we did with everybody that's here in person. All right. Super excited. So I'm going to pass it on to Rick to tell you a little bit about some of our upcoming events, and then we'll get started.
All right. All right. So thank you, Regina. So we do have regular events on Saturday. So this is where you can actually go to a coaching clinic, right? So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Agile, we divide into breakout rooms and we learn the basics. Whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced, we have something for you. So please join us on Saturday. I know you don't have anything to do on Saturday morning, right? You know, at 8 o'clock in the morning, this is the best thing for you, okay? So it's a great event. We share. It's very expensive, though. It's free. Okay, so just be there, join us, and keep growing the community. So that's one activity that I want to make sure you join us. Regina, help me click there. You stole the clicker. How do you support us? Guess what? We have shirts, right? So we sell shirts and we give it back to the community, right? So any shirts that you buy, whether it's open, anybody know what openness, courage, respect, focus, and commitment is? It's Agile from where? Scrum. Okay, you keep your certification. Marcelo, we only have one person in this whole room that mentions Scrum. So everyone else loses their certification if you have any. And if you don't, we're going to give you one and then take it away. All right?
Yep.
So keep that in mind. All right. So moving forward, Regina, and we do have something exciting coming up as well. It's all about AI. Everyone's hearing about AI. So guess what? We're doing an event on AI. Again, very expensive. It's free, right? It's remote conference, and we're going to have a whole bunch of different panelists from the C-level down to every single role that you can think of is going to be represented. So you really want to learn where you fit in. Like, where's my future? Like, what do I need to learn now so that I can be ahead of it? So this is pretty cool. So again, hopefully you'll join us. Yes, we also have a little workshop, really expensive workshop for $49. Right? So if you really want to learn the ins and out of ChatGPT and some of the large language models, please join us. The $49 goes right back to the volunteers. So again, we're giving back to the community. This is how you can support us. And I believe that's and the last one, of course, is a certification that I do hold dearly, is the Certified Agile Leadership. So this is kind of helping you become, the leader that we know you can be, right? The leader of an agile team, the leader of an agile organization. So hope you guys can join us. Thank you, Regina. I'm passing it out back to you.
Thank you so much. And today is all about leadership, but we did want to share how many of you went to our Agile International Conference this year in March? Raise your hand if you guys were there. And online, we know that a lot of our Agile community actually flew in. This was an amazing event. We had over 400 people this year at Florida International University. And actually, the panel that we have today were the women speakers at the Agile International Conference. And they were so great that I'm like, I just want to bring them back because I love them, right? So please mark your calendars because in 2024, we hope to be at Nova Southeastern University, and it's on May 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be at the New Innovation Center. And I think that's the New Innovation Center where they actually have the little robot that welcomes everybody. Okay, it's a beautiful location, and we're very fortunate to be doing it there this year. So the Broward folks, if you're coming from a little further up north and also from Dade County, it's going to be a lot of fun, All right, so today, it's about women in leadership breaking barriers, but it's about leadership overall, not just for women, right? But it's going to be a very personal conversation. We do want to thank our sponsors. So I'd like to give an opportunity. First, we're going to thank Southern Glaciers Wine and Spirits, and then we're going to thank HCL to please come up and just say a couple of words. And Felipe couldn't be here. This evening, but we got Saba. Yeah.
I think Felipe's shoes are very, very big to fill. But anyways, Felipe here is looking at you if you're joining us on the video after the fact. My name is Saba Benson, and I do work at Southern Glazers. And Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits actually is one of the top alcohol beverage distributors in the United States. We fully support the Agile community. And this is the second time that we hold this event. And we're very, very, very happy to have you here with us. Also, we are going through transformation ourselves, and transformation experts are helping us with the transformation that we are going through, the Agile transformation. And we want to thank you for all of your support. For our panelists, welcome. And of course, for our other sponsor. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Thank you for taking the time out today. It's so nice for you to all be here today, and especially remote. Rick, Regina, thank you. I've known Rick virtually for about 5 years, but it's a small world, right? The community of, LinkedIn is a small world. Be connected. I'm part of HCL Tech, but I've been in the HR industry about 18 years, helping the mid-market America all the way to corporate America with a lot of varieties in their transformation journeys around HR, people, and everything that comes with people and all the future of work with that. So I'm here today to just, support, sponsor, and give everybody a little insight on how we're helping the future of work and companies with a lot of the challenges that leaders are facing with remote employees, the future workforce, which is heavily going to be millennials and Gen Zs, and all the different types of skill necessities and gaps that, companies need. So that's a little bit about us, and thank you. Yeah, we have a little video.
Yeah, can you play the first one? Is that good? Okay.
Yeah. So there's a little video about, our organization is about 300,000 employees. So we do a lot of heavy transformations for,
Make sure we do
SAP and our corporate division.
It's not sharing. Maybe.
Yeah. Hold on. No, I have to do it. Stop sharing.
Okay.
A good catch there. Share with sound. And now I just need to share my whole screen. How about that? All right.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Sometimes it is a cautious effort. They don't want to include women.
Diversity is fine, but inclusivity is a very, very important and critical factor.
I think financial inclusion makes a big difference. Societies that can get more financially inclusive will provide more equal opportunities for men and women.
Women, they do not need any preference treatment. What they need is equal opportunity.
Maternity leave is something people are now trying. The more we make it common for men to also take 3 months and not be embarrassed about it.
It is definitely helpful by leaders like Vijay and other leaders in the organization who gives us the opportunity.
We are able to put in some effort, maybe not tomorrow, but day after. Someday the world is better for the next generation at work and at home. And it is not only about she, I think it's all about we.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arturo. I appreciate it. And that's a great start to our conversation as well. Let me get the we got our technical support here, Rick Reguera. Thank you so much. No, he's good. He's good. He's good. Yeah, you're sharing. So we go to the next one. All right, this is one of my favorite quotes. Be the change we wish to see in the world. It starts with you. I added that last part. Been through a lot. We've been through a lot in our careers as women. I always love to share a little bit about who my inspiration is. Born of Cuban parents who migrated here to the United States, right? I have my brother who's sitting over there. He's here welcoming us. Hello, Harold. All right. Our mom is my inspiration. She's my mentor. As you know, from Cuban immigrants who came here in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s, had a whole life in their country, had to start from scratch. My mom had a PhD in Cuba, came here with not knowing the language, came here and went back to school and had to get 3 degrees while having 3 jobs and having 2 kids at home and a house full of grandparents and cousins and everybody sleeping in a 2-bedroom, right? So I always say, we grew up saying there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do because we came here and we sacrificed ourselves for you to have an education, to live in a country where we're free. So there was nothing that we could say, oh, I can't go to school, or I can't get this job, or I can't reach this goal, because our parents did it with 3 times the impediments and 3 times the roadblocks. So that's why this talk is about breaking barriers. It's about breaking barriers. And we're here to set the precedent. And I am super, 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 super excited to present these ladies that are very dear to my heart. As I mentioned, they were part of the Women in Leadership panel that we had this year at the Agile International Conference. We did have one lady, unfortunately, that could not get a babysitter. And she was actually the representative from SGWS. I do want to make a mention of Tiffany Thompson, but she will be here with us the next time. But no further ado, I want these ladies to present themselves and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you came from, right? A little bit about your story, a quick introduction, because we're all super, super excited to hear about it. Okay.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me here. Thanks for the amazing food and great wine. So definitely for all you people online, just want to let you know it was totally worth the drive. There you go. But I think this is like a great opportunity. And so a little bit about me. I don't know. Just before I came here, I wrote like a LinkedIn post where I said, 30 years ago, I moved to Miami and started a love affair with Miami, and I still have a love affair with Miami 30 years later, and I hope to have at least another 30 years of love affair with Miami. So I think the first thing is to take away is that I love Miami. I'm very passionate about Miami, and the heat doesn't bother me. That's why there's air conditioning. The second thing is that as I was doing a reflection on the 30 years of being in Miami, just was looking at my friend garden that has grown to a friend farm. Somebody calls it a friend farm now. Because it just have such amazing, wonderful people in it. And so I also had my avatar help me write a poem to my friends because I noticed quite a number of my friends are introverts. And so I want to thank all the introverts out there that are the cheerleaders for the extroverts and keep us going and provide the energy source that we need to just keep this party moving and do amazing things. And so I would say the next thing is that I'm very appreciative of the people in my life and just believe in just about supporting and advancing people. So I'm going to stop there and give the mic over to Jessica.
Thank you, Stephanie. I also want to say, first, yes, thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be back here again. Thank you to Rick and Regina. Thank you to our sponsors. And thank you all for being here. For those that don't know me, my name is Jess Hope Elias. I was actually, now that we're sort of telling our background story, I was born in South Korea. I was adopted by a Jewish American family, and I grew up here in a very heavily Cuban influenced Miami. So when I leave Miami, a lot of people say I sound Hispanic, but I was bat mitzvahed and I look Korean. So it's very interesting. But I think that's what gives you, flavor, right? We all have our stories. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to be here today, from an agile standpoint, right? I think we're all growing and transforming, but also leadership, right? Not just women in leadership. I think there's a bigger struggle with women, minorities, but leadership in general. And I think that is, I've talked to some of you before this session now, and we talked about the changing world, the changing dynamics. And so I'm excited to have our conversation today with you all. And my background is I was in banking for 20 years. From there, I worked at startups. I worked for Fortune 500 companies. And now I'm an independent business consultant. And I also, because Miami, got my real estate license. So that's me. Thank you.
I'm gonna let you guys keep the mic. Okay. Because I think we only have right? Is that okay? Okay. Can you guys hear me? Is this more for online?
It's for everyone. Yeah, it's for online. No,
even though it's green?
It's actually green right now. It should be working.
Okay.
Lights with that.
Yeah, it turned it off. Yeah. No, that's fine. Can you guys hear us? Okay, super cool. So I did not know that about Jessica. I did not know. Here, let me. I guess we'll kind of pass it around. We'll get a little closer. Let's get a little closer. There we go. We're like a big family. Those are some really interesting facts. I did not know that about you. That's super cool. And you know that we do have a Miami accent. Even you that have been here for 30 years, we do have a Miami. I did not know that. I guess I found out online, those funny videos online about like what Miami people sound like. Yeah, and then I was like, what are they talking about? Like, I don't sound like that. I don't know what they're talking about, which is really funny. But before we get into the serious conversation, just some fun facts, right? Like, if you had a comfort food to go to, what would that be?
Comfort food.
Yes.
I guess, it's cheese. Cheese and wine. Cheese and whiskey. I'm thinking I could just come work here. I looked at it, I was like, oh my God, like, okay, I'm just gonna delicately take 2 pieces of cheese and not eat the entire chair of cheese, but yes.
There you go. You know what she's going after this outside of that platter, right?
She's taking it home. For me, it would probably be anything like Italian pasta food, mostly cacio e pepe. And then I would say, if I'm going to go with a drink, like a great Cabernet Sauvignon. Although Japanese whiskey would be up there too.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that is.
Food, but we just want
no, I love it. I love it.
We gotta lead into where we are.
Anybody else likes Japanese whiskey here? Anybody online likes Japanese whiskey? Oh, look, we got some people here. My comfort food, it's actually a café con leche. Like, I grew up like, my grandmother would no café con leche, which is a glass of milk with lots of sugar and a little bit of coffee. So my grandmother used to give me that when I would wake up in the morning. She used to give me that when I had a stomach ache, and she used to give me that when I couldn't go to sleep. So, Rick always asks, why do you drink so much coffee, Regina? I'm like, because, that's my comfort place. If you have, tell us about a hobby that you have that might surprise people. There's something that you guys like to do outside of work that might surprise people.
Okay. I'm gonna go with an old hobby. I've since changed, but this used to surprise people. I was the fantasy football commissioner for my old job for 10 years in a row, and I ran a tight ship.
So I think my thing is crocheting and and one semester I went to this after school program we were funding, and I taught little boys how to crochet, and then we did like at the end of the semester we did a spoken word to crocheting. It was just like the coolest thing, and these little boys were just like they're just it was just great. It was great.
I love that. Again, that's surprising. That's surprising. For me, like, people don't know, but I'm into hot yoga and hot Pilates. I'm a hot yoga fan. 100-degree weather, inside that room. But it's really, really, like, I got into it 10 years ago. Either you love it or you hate it, and I think the heat is kind of crazy. But anyways, just some fun facts to get started. So let's get into some serious conversations here. Okay. How many of us have gone through career changes? How many of us have taken risks in our lives? Okay. Whether we wanted to or not, right? Okay. Look, everybody's raising their hand. So the next conversation, it's important that we talk about this, because making changes in our lives, whether we plan for them or whether we don't, it's a very scary thing to go through. But for men and women, for those of you that are online, and no matter how old we are, we tend to think that it's not as scary when you're younger, but believe it or not, it may even be more scary when you're younger. We tend to think, oh my God, it's even scarier when you're older, but it's scary all around. So we need to have that conversation, and I think it's really important. And I'd love to tell us a time, I guess, when you took a risk and decided to make a change that changed your current life or your current career. And I know these ladies have some great stories about that.
So I'm going to update my taking a risk from March, just because I don't want to recycle material. As a budding comedian, I always know you have to keep updating your material, or people go, "What? You're a one-trick wonder." So I'm actually taking risks right now. So I have a startup, Avatar Buddy, and we create digital mentors that help amplify people's job and emotional support. So just amplify people, their awesomeness, so that they can be the best version of their lives. And we have been doing this for about 7 years. Last year, I went in 100% full time. Product went to market in January. And I said, and in March of this year, I said, if we don't make a certain number by September, I would consider getting a part-time job or another job and doing this to just sustain myself. And so in the beginning of August, I decided I am not going to get a part-time job. I'm going to run all my bank accounts down to zero, making sure, just doubling down on my company. So I didn't even wait until September to make that decision, and just leaning into it. And so, it's very scary, because for you to consciously say you're going to hold with something and potentially run your bank account down to zero is not for the faint of heart, especially when you're in your 50s. So you don't have 30 years to make back up all that money again. But I feel good about it. And this morning I got yet another customer. So I am super excited about my decision. So yes, it is scary. I don't really have any fingernails anymore, but I am definitely happy about that.
Okay, so I won't refresh per se or recycle what I've said in March, but I'm also going through a time of transition. I went from a very, very stable job. And when I say stable, I mean, my mom worked at this company. I started working at this company for when I was 14. So I was with a company from high school, college. I mean, I worked at this bank. I helped grow their project management office. I was their first project coordinator. I built the entire team, their methodology. And that's how I met Rick and Regina. And one day I woke up and I just said, can this be the rest of my life? I'm not necessarily unhappy, but I don't know that I'm happy, you know? And I didn't know what my why was. And so that was 3 years ago. I've been on this crazy, probably a little bit before 3, because it took me time to make the decision to leave. But I went on this crazy journey, and I'm still there, to chase what makes me happy, to figure out what my purpose is. And how that ties back to risk is, you know, growing up, you're told, go to school, get your degree, get a good job, get a 401k, get good insurance. I did all of those things for 20 years, right? And then one day I just said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance on myself and I'm going to be happy. Who the hell does that? Right? Most of the time you go with a safe bet. And so taking that risk has been so interesting, so challenging. It's taught me, my grandfather used to have this saying that it builds character. And some days I'm like, okay, I have enough character. I'm okay. But then, you know, it keeps happening. The journey's not over, right? So from there, I finally made the decision to leave the bank. And I think I've told this story before, but I didn't want to leave on bad terms. When you're with a company for that long, it was family to me. I grew up there. People saw me grow up there. So when it was time for me to leave, I told my boss at the time, who was the COO, he still is the COO, I'm ready to move on. And they said, what can we do to keep you here? And I said, not be a bank. And they couldn't do that. I just wanted something different. So I told them to take their time to hire my replacement. That took them 5 months. At the end of 5 months, it was literally March 2020. We all know what happened. So like, I'm already taking a risk. And then another curveball gets thrown my way. They have my replacement and they're like, so are you still leaving? I'm like, yes, I'm going to find a way. So the agreement we made was however long it took them to hire someone, they gave me that time back. So it's really about building relationships as you take those risks, right? How do you fall back on these relationships? And there was nothing in writing, right? They could have screwed me over and told me I could leave. And they didn't. And I didn't do that to them either, right? It was building that relationship and then taking that risk. I went to work for a startup in the middle of a pandemic. It was a wild ride, a great experience. I did that for 2 years. I learned things I never knew how to do. I built a PMO. I was running and learning how to build food trucks for this startup, going to manufacturers in COVID. So kept taking those risks. And fast forward now, I have done 4 or 5 other jobs since then. I haven't looked back. It's the most thrilling and exciting thing. But to Stephanie's point about bringing your bank account down to zero, it is scary, very scary, but it's worth it. I would never regret it. I would never go back. I went from having this money saved to saying, okay, when I get to this level, I'm going to stop. I'm going to get a job again. I'm going to get a real job again. And now I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going till it's zero, right? And it was scary to not know where the next paycheck was going to come from, but we figure it out, right?
The learnings, right? Did you know that you were going to learn all that you've learned till today when you made these very critical decisions in your life? Right? It's crazy. It's crazy. For me, I was a PMO manager, going up the corporate ladder, project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, PMO manager. And then my story is I met an agile coach who changed my life, right? sitting right there. It is my quote, and I won't change that. And once I learned about agile, right, and the differences that it made in the type of work that I was kind of doing already, it just addressed so many of the pain points that I was experiencing with my customers in the project implementation. And I literally left my position where I had direct reports and went to do an agile coaching job. You know how I got into it? I started training on the weekends. That was my side job, apart from my 9 in the morning to 10 p.m. job that I kind of already had, right? Because we work a lot. And it was a chance that I took. And then I went into consulting, and I'm like, forget about the direct reports. And I was enjoying consulting again, right? But I had to learn. I went into an organization where there were agile coaches that had over 10 years of experience. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to learn to do what they're doing? In a year, I was like, been there, done that. What's the next thing that I got coming? It's that challenge, and it's making that decision and challenging yourself. But I was scared. I would get home with anxiety attacks every day. And I want to be honest with that. Like, how am I going to learn what they're doing? I don't have their experience. And I would tell my boss all the day. He hired me because of other skills that I had, the project management background, and also I was a trainer and I could certify. But that experience I did not have. And it was amazing. In a year, I was like, okay, I'm ready for my next thing. You know, I had surpassed it. But if you don't make those decisions in your life, you will never know. You would never know unless you take that risk, you know, which is awesome. My next question is, tell us a time when you wished that you would have had the guidance, right? Because there were times where I wish I would have had the guidance and I needed decisions. And so what are some of the things that you guys wished you would have had when you were in those situations?
Do you want me to go? Go ahead. Okay. Okay.
I don't want to always hug the mic.
I'll make it fast on this one. To believe in yourself. I know that sounds corny. Everyone says that. And this may come up again later. I've said it before. Do it scared. I think we wait until things feel perfect. To your point, you want to be the best at everything. So just do it anyway if you want to.
Yeah,
tell us about this book. So I've been on this journey to hold myself accountable. I've been reading 2 books a month. As crazy as my schedule is, I've just continued to push that, right? And this is about, you know, finding exactly what it's saying, like that courage to overcome the adversity, no matter how scared, like almost let the fear fuel you, right? Let that excitement push you forward into these places, because you're never going to look back and regret the things that you did. You're always going to regret the things that you didn't do, right? So it's about just allowing yourself to take that anxiety and to use it to continue to propel you forward. Yay, I'm so glad you got that. Thank you.
Yay, do it scared. That feels like my life right now. I'm like, just lean into the fear and just embrace it, cuddle it, caress it, and just like, you know, and then when you're tired of doing that, just pray really hard. You know, I think that I've been like really fortunate in my career and in my life that I have like incredible mentors. And at any one moment in time, I have at least 5 or 6 mentors that are surrounding me with courage and encouragement. And if they don't have the knowledge, they go and they get somebody. I have this mentor, her name's Tony Randolph. She hates when I put her name out there, but I'm just going to do that because I think she's amazing. And she's been my mentor for over 20 years. And the really cool thing about what she does is like, she will open the door and bring me in rooms that I might not be qualified for and hold my hands until I can command the room myself. And being able to have that person ground your mentoring circle, and then you just add people as you need, it's just been amazing. And I will just say that I don't know if it's just luck, but I have been really blessed to have amazing colleagues, an amazing boss over the years. I don't know that I have one boss that was like you get the Harbies when you think about them. I mean, like Rick and I have worked at 2 companies together. And it, you know, like just amazing people like Rick, I got the pleasure to work with. So I think that what I did is that I fed on their encouragement and their energy and their belief in me, and they're willing to take risk on me. And I said, well, if you believe in me, I am going to also go ahead and do this just to make you proud. So that's how I've like navigated the risk piece of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. The flip side of that, right? What happens when you're in a place where you're not appreciated, whether it's a job or whether it's a relationship, right? The one thing I learned was walk away, walk away, you know, and learn how to love yourself above anything, right? Because sometimes in certain jobs, we're not always appreciated, right? And we don't always have the fortune to find people that are there. I've had amazing supporters all my life, but I've been in one or two situations where that has not been the case, and I have not always known how to handle it the best way. So that's why the question about like, hey, I wish I would have had the guidance, I would have had somebody to talk to. So I just had to be kind to myself and learn how to walk away until I figure it out. And I did, and I'm very grateful to God for that, right? So in both ways, awesome. The next one, I love this topic, right? It's about personal branding. Okay. How many of you consider yourselves a brand or a product? How many of you have never looked at yourselves as, hey, I'm a value and I have to figure out how to brand myself? This is a topic that's dear in heart. These ladies are amazing at it. I need to learn from them. So tell us a little bit about the brand. Tell us.
So I think when we think about branding, like people think, oh, like I'm a marketing, I'm like Nike, just do it, the Swiss sign. I mean, that's like usually whenever somebody starts talking about your branding, that what comes to mind. But I think that there's also the whole concept of like who you are and how you show up. And are you intentional about how you show up? And when you don't show up that way, do you go back and clean up whatever it is to make it right? So I believe that, like, it took a long time. And one of the jobs that Rick and I worked at, one of our bosses, he was great. He like helped me go on the spiritual journey with me to just kind of like find out like, why am I put here on this earth? And I think that once I found out why I was here on this earth, like things started to fall in place, and I was able to live in a space of gratitude and appreciation. And then taking risk and being vulnerable was just like part of the process. So when I think about personal branding, I think about like, what do I want people to think about me when they're talking about me? If somebody hears something negative about me, what will they do? Will they pile on, or would they be like, really? You sure that's correct? Because if they can do that, if you can create a personal brand where people, when somebody says something negative about you, somebody else that knows you go, you sure? Let's fact check this without piling on, then I think that you're successful with your personal brand. And so my personal brand is being the conduit of the Lord's love and helping people be the best version of themselves. And like, so throughout my career, I've always delegated my authority. When things went really, really well, I would highlight and uplift my employees. And when things went sideways, I would be the one walking to the principal's office, taking all the spanking for the side things going sideways. And what I found was that made me have a really good personal life. What does that mean? It means that whenever I went on vacation, I didn't have to check my emails. And the comment that I consistently got, regardless of which company I worked for, and I've worked for a number of companies. So even though I've had amazing bosses and amazing people, average tenure is 4.75 years per employer. So I've moved around. But the phrase that keeps coming up is like, staff, my team members going, Stephanie's not going to like that. We're not going to do that. I mean, so being able to create an environment where your team members have your back and will veto something, so I don't even have to veto it. I never had to check my emails. I obviously check my emails because a little bit type A, but it's really refreshing to be able to go on vacation for 2 weeks and check your emails just because that's what you do. And see and read your emails and go, oh man, there's nothing happening, and then come back and like hear about everything, like the problems and how they've resolved the problems on their own. So I think like really understanding what your personal brand is and then living into it and what does it mean for that is where I think it's definitely important. And then just the last piece of that is, am I the same person at work as I am at home? Absolutely. I think that context switching is too exhausting. I'm like, what you see is what you get. And Rick Rick's laughing because Rick, see, he's rubbing his eye. He's like, oh God, he's remembering some of the meetings and the conversations where he's like, ah, I can't believe she just said that. But that's what I do.
All great stuff. I mean, I ditto on a lot of that. For me, you know, we've talked about this before, but I think personal brand sometimes can get a bad rep because it's like a trendy thing, right? So sometimes people hear personal brand and they sort of all roll their eyes because every coach online wants to tell you about your personal brand, right? But how do you make it your own, right? I think that words have the significance that you give them. So what does it mean and how do you turn it into your own? For me, it's really two things when it comes to personal brand. One is internal integrity and two is external portrayal. So what I mean by that is internal integrity is a lot of what Stephanie was saying is, are you living in integrity with yourself? So that whole you part of it, are you who you are at work and who you are at home all the time? Because when you're not living in integrity, one of my other favorite books, because I read so many, The Way of Integrity. And this woman, Martha Beck, who wrote the book, she went on this journey to not tell a lie for a year. Not even when someone says, hey, how are you? And if you're not having a great day, what's our default? Oh, I'm fine. Right? She wouldn't even say I'm fine. She wouldn't give you like the whole story, but you know, today wasn't a great day today. But you know, I'm sure it'll get better, right? But she went on this crazy journey to start to realize herself, her truth, her integrity, and what that meant for her, right? Like, are there people, I've lived a life where in my old job, I was always in fear of my value and I didn't always get along with everyone. And so sometimes I would do things to please other people. What does my boss want? What does the CEO want? Maybe I don't agree with it or whatever it is. And sometimes when you don't live in integrity, the point is you become sometimes a version of yourself that maybe you're not aligned with. Maybe you say things and you react and you're not happy with the way you handled yourself under pressure. So how do you figure out your personal brand? Who are you? One thing I heard once was, what is the worst thing anyone can say about you? And how is it true? So if you hold yourself responsible and you do the work to figure out the things where maybe you are not aligned, you are not integrity, what does that mean? How do you become that version of yourself? You start to find your voice because you find your boundaries, you find your values, and you understand what you as a person individually care about. And you can respect other people and hold them accountable to respecting you. And then the second piece of this was the external portrayal. And what I mean by that is a piece of advice I once got, and Stephanie alluded to this, is what do you want other people to say about you when they ask what it's like to fill in the blank, work with you, hire you, all of these things, right? So what are those things? And then go back to the other question about what's the worst thing anyone can say about you, right? And how do you align that to what you want other people to see, right? Have you ever Googled yourself? I know it's usually a scary thing, but what's that portrayal, right? So the version of me, my personal brand right now is being an advocate for the community as well as for women empowerment. So a lot of things I do are related to the charities that I sit on boards, I work with, I go out to community service. I'm constantly advocating for that. I don't get paid for that, but it brings me so much joy to help other people. And I think we really need to understand, as part of integrity, that word, that J word I just used, joy. Like, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? Because when you're happy, it's contagious. People can feel that, whether you're at work, outside of work, in your personal life, and that becomes your portrayal of yourself, the external. Who do you want to be? What is your brand? What do you align with? And how do you remain in integrity? Like, I've had advice that people have given me that I didn't always agree with, but maybe I thought, oh, well, they're really successful and they're an executive. I should do what they say. And then I wasn't happy, right? But once I started to live in the way I wanted to do things, I realized I don't have to offend other people, right? I'm not doing it to piss you off. There are people that might not like you or your brand, and you might not be their cup of tea or their cup of whiskey, you know, since we're here. Exactly. but that's okay. You know, you can still be respectful. You can still choose to live in your own integrity, to be honest about your values, to use your voice, to command the respect that you deserve, and, you know, to be kind to yourself, like Regina said, as well as to others. And I think that's what personal brand is about. And the last thing I'll say is it will change. You know, you will change from time to time as you go through new risks. As I said, you build character, right? So that character is going to continue to evolve. And so continue to do that work. Ask yourself those questions. I ask myself constantly, okay, like maybe my worst thing now is different than it used to be, but what is it, right? Like, how do I hold myself accountable? What do I care about? What values have changed? What organizations do I want to be part of? I think a big thing is define yourself outside of your job. If someone were to say, like, who are you? Are you your job? Do you immediately say, I'm a project manager or I'm a this? What else are you? So do that work and then continue to do that work so you can continue to reinvent yourself.
All right. I love it. In Agile, what do we do at the end of a sprint, guys? We do a retrospective, right? And how often do we sprint? Every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks in some. So we have to retrospect all the time. That's the thing in common that I'm hearing all of us say, right? It's never too late. And it's not like we're questioning ourselves all the time, but hey, what did I learn? What's working well? What's not working well? What are my lessons learned? And what do I need to change? And that having that continuous improvement mindset in our personal lives, not just in our professional lives. It's what's really, really, really important. And I love the reinventing part of it because it's never too late. Some people reinvent themselves every other year, every couple of years, no matter what stage you're in. And I love that message because I've taken that to heart myself as well. You talked about mentors, right? I think that's our next topic here. So what have been some of your greatest mentors? Oh, wait. Actually, oh, we're ready for an exercise. Okay. All right. So we want everybody to get up. Get up. And if you're online, we want everybody to get up because the previous conversation about branding and about empowerment and retrospecting. And what's that saying that you love to say, Rick? Motion causes emotion. All right. Motion causes emotion. When you physically get up and take a stance, guess what? A physical action causes an emotional reaction. Think about that when you work out. Think about that when you're at home, when you're sitting and you're remote and how you do. So we want everybody to do a power pose. Pick a power pose, give us a power pose. And if Rick can take a picture, that would be awesome. For you guys online, let's do a power pose together. There you go. We got a wonderful power pose down there. All right, what is your power pose? How do you feel? How do you feel? There you go. Let's do a power pose. All right. My Wonder Womans, my Supermans, my Spider-Mans that are out there. Okay. Just a quick exercise. This is just a quick little fun little exercise for you guys online. I hope you guys are doing a power pose. If not, put on on the chat your favorite superhero power pose or your favorite superhero for those of you online. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. That was a quick little break there. All right. That was a little surprise that we had there. Okay, we talked about mentors, right? The importance of mentors. So share with us some of the mentors that have made a difference in your life and what type of mentors have they been?
So I'm going to say that before I talk about mentors, there's mentors, there's coaches, and there's sponsors. And people sometimes collapse these all into one. So quick little thing, because this is what I do. Sponsor is somebody that's looking out to advance your career, that will advocate for you. When, you know, all those meetings that the managers have where they talk about who's promotable or not, that's your sponsor is saying, oh, Stephanie is ready for a promotion and so forth. Coaching is somebody that says, you know, Stephanie, when you're in that meeting, maybe don't be as authentic as you like and so they also sit in the meeting and do nonverbal cues like Rick will do and go, no. And then I look at Rick and I go, okay, so maybe I went a little too far. Let me dial it back. And then mentor is just basically somebody that like co-dreams with you and like tells you and reminds you that you're powerful and you're awesome and you can go great distance. and so I already talked about one of my amazing mentors. But I also want to talk about like when you are a mentor, how enriching that is for your life. So this Sunday, I went to breakfast with Tony, and I went to breakfast with this young lady, Jamora, and I met her at an event, and I don't know, I was like, who's this person? So I go and I start talking to her, learn about her. She's my neighbor. Um, and then I look at a LinkedIn post about a month later, and she's talking about me being her mentor. And I was like, did I miss a conversation? And I say this to say, right? So she's going to be 18 next month. And I think I've been her mentor for 2 years now. So if you are an adult and you say you're afraid about getting a mentor, please don't let the teenagers shame you. She just decided I was her mentor, and then she just act as if, and then I became her mentor. And so the really cool thing about mentoring her is I am learning so much from her as much as she's learning from me. And it's just a great thing. So on Sunday, I went and took her to meet my mentor, Tony, and the three of us sat there and had breakfast and talked for about 2 hours. And that was just really great to be mentored, be a mentor, and just the whole full circle thing coming back together. And then I posted this on LinkedIn, and I did not think that I was going to get the kind of response that I got with it, which just basically says people are hungry for this. So I'm advocating, be a mentor, because the best way for you to improve yourself is to help improve somebody else. And then be open to seeking out mentors. Don't be afraid. The best gift, the most ego stroking thing you can do is to tell somebody, I want you to mentor them. I mean, what better compliment can you pay somebody? So I say, reach out, don't be afraid. If you ask any successful person that's honest, they will tell you all the people that mentored them along their way to success. So nobody self-made, not true. The self-made was, yeah, they had to do a lot of the work themselves, but they had a team of people helping them go forward. So don't like look around and say, oh my God, this person is so successful, and then compare yourself to them. First of all, you should not be doing that. Never compare yourself to anybody, but your old self, not you compare your new self to your old self and go, wow, I did make a good journey forward. But just know that they have a team of mentors around, and mentoring is so important that we created a digital mentor avatar buddy. So I just thought I would work that in there. My marketing person is making sure that I work in any kind of marketing into the conversation. But yeah, I so believe in mentoring that I've created an entire company to help address the mentoring gap that's out there. So you can come, you can use the tool. It helps you create the confidence so you can go talk to another human being.
Thank you, Stephanie. I actually have a different, let's say, journey from Stephanie's. I know that this has been a very strong topic for you, and I really love your perspective on it. So thank you for sharing it with everyone and hearing it again. I come from a very different experience. So if I said my grandfather used to say it builds character, my grandmother used to tell me that I came up through the school of the hard knocks. So for me, I learned through trial and error. Everything I did, I learned the hard way. I have a lot of passion, a lot of ambition, and I would run into the wall a lot, burn myself out a lot. And I think there was a version of me that felt like, and a lot of us, right, think this asking for help is a weakness, or showing that you need help is a weakness. You'd rather pretend that you know what you're doing and stay up all night learning. Like, oh my God, I've never told this story. It just hit me. Do you guys, I'm going to date myself, but do you guys remember MySpace?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when MySpace came out, they had like these pre-made, like almost like web design, right? That you could pick a page. I stayed up all night. Okay. I was a college student. I stayed up all night learning how to code so that I could like code my own page. And I did it, but it was like, why? because I could have slept, you know? And like the point of that, to bring this back to mentorship, is like, I never really had someone that I would ask for advice. Like, hey, you know, maybe should I sleep before I have like this big, you know, test tomorrow? Or should I just stay up all night and figure this out? You know, I'm sure I learned things, it built character, right? But it wasn't necessary. And so that's sort of an analogy for the rest of my life. But where I'm at today, why I want to say this is I think there's some people who've had mentors their whole life and maybe had mentors in high school and maybe looked up to their parents and things like that. I never really had that. It was just like I said, trial and error, trial and error. But the point is, I don't think it's ever too late to have a mentor, right? So now that I'm living into my joy, my happiness, my journey, a lot of that comes with, you know, one of my favorite authors, Brene Brown, vulnerability, right? And empathy, being kind to yourself, and learning that you can ask for help. It's not a weakness, it's a vulnerability, but that actually makes you more brave and courageous. And so as of late, and actually I think I took a page from you, I learned this from you in March, to ask someone to be my mentor. So since then I have asked somebody who has been very helpful and cheering me on along the sides. And I've never had that before, but it really made me realize, to Stephanie's point, I never asked, you know, and I try to pay it forward. I try to help other people. I do everything I can. But I think one other thing I want to stress is that you also have to do it within your own boundaries. I know I bring it back to that, but as much as you want to help everybody, you have to put your oxygen mask on first, right? What they tell you on the plane. So be cognizant of how much of yourself and your time you can give, because it will bring the quality down all around in your job, in your personal life, to everyone you're mentoring and being mentored by, if you're just doing too much. So be cognizant of that quality and who you want to work with and in what capacity, right? You talked about the 3 different types, right? So maybe you can't be someone's mentor or whatever it is, right? You can do it on the side. You can help cheer them on in other ways. You can send them advice on, you know, great agile workshops to go to help them on their journey. So figure out what works for you.
Thank you, ladies. I'm really inspired. So by the two of you, because and you both gave very different perspective, which is great. For me, like Stephanie, is my passion to help others. And when I help others, I actually learn. And it's very gratifying from that perspective. But my takeaway from what you both shared, if we were to create a list of names of all the people who have helped us along the way, how long would that list be? And I'm talking go way back. And there's some names I don't even remember because I might have been a kid. And I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, where are they now? You know, what state are they in? What country are they in? You know, are they even still alive? So that's my takeaway for me. If you guys want to try that out, there's a little exercise that I'm throwing out there because I think that would be super cool. I'm actually going to try to do that. I just have to remember names, you know, and kind of go way back. Third grade teacher, right? Miss Quintana, time is gold. Time is gold. That's what my third grade teacher used to say. All right. This one's also a great topic, right? Personal life balance versus our career growth. This is one that we struggle with. And I'm not going to say that women struggle with it more than men. I think men do too. You know, it's just, do we talk about it? I know women don't always talk about it. We keep it to ourselves. Do men talk about it? Do you guys keep it to yourself? You know, because there's pressures there all along from our family, from our kids, from our career growth. So this is a great topic. And I want you guys to kind of share a little bit of your perspective on it.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the bottom and work my way up. And so one of the things that part of my personal brand is I'm very transparent, sometimes maybe too transparent, but I'm leaning into my transparency and I'm going to do that again. And so I'm like 52 years old. So anybody that knows that a woman that's 52 years old is going through menopause, and I'm like, everybody's going to be part of this journey with me. So I've been sitting here having my own personal hot flashes and like trying to look cool. And I'm like thinking, do they notice that I'm sweating? Like, I'm like, okay, like how do I adjust myself? Yeah, like try to look cool literally while I am like burning up. And I say this, right, because when I started with this company, I never stopped to think, like I was like, yeah, like, you know, I'm in my late 40s, 50s, people But what I never thought about was the fact that I would also be trying to do a startup while going through menopause. And anybody that has ever gone through menopause or is going through it know that that is just insanity. And I mean, because what I have had to do is some days not get out of bed. Like just literally lay in bed all day and watch Netflix because I know that if I get out of bed and start to work, I am going to make decisions that are not going to be good. And that's a thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. But that's and I think to myself like that's a huge thing. And how many women talk about that? Almost nobody. Like I know I could feel the tension in the room when I started saying that I'm going to talk about what it's like to be a 52-year-old woman. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, is she going to say the word? And everybody's like waiting for it. And I think that we need to put that out there because it is really it's a real thing and it's debilitating sometimes. And then we can just walk backwards to when you're having children and postpartum depression. That's a real thing as well. And oh wait, well, I have not been pregnant, so I don't know what it is to be pregnant. But I mean, the hormones going back and forth, and do we get the support? Do we even talk about the fact that, like today, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind, and I have no reason why. And you just need to be okay with the fact that today I'm going to lose my mind because I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'll be sane. And you cannot tell me about yesterday I was acting crazy. Like you just need to just be okay with that. And I think that that's like important as we talk about work-life balance and health. And then just going back to just like you're a young adult and you're starting work and all the stressors and how does that interact with your hormones and your cycle and so forth. And you know, like how many people like can feel comfortable going to their boss's office and say, you know, I looked at my calendar, tomorrow is the day, I'm going to be home tomorrow. I'm going to take a sick day. Like none of us, not even myself, would be like, yeah, I'm just going to be bold enough to just tell that to my boss. But why can't we do that? Why is that not okay for us to go in and tell our bosses, male and female, that like, you know, tomorrow I'm just not going to be myself. So I think I need to take a mental health day or whatever kind of day I want to call it so that I don't have to deal with the stressors while my body is just a raving lunatic. So like that was like one of my important things about work-life balance, because I think that until we start talking about women's health at that level, that then they really don't have work-life balance, because when you're not feeling well or you're like just going nuts, and then I'm just gonna say one more thing and then I'm gonna like pull it back. But like men don't have to go into a room and wonder when they sit down if they're gonna leave a stain. And that's like that's a real thing. That is an absolute real thing that women have to deal with. And nobody ever talks about that. And can you imagine going on an interview and that's what you're stressed about? Like, I mean, how are you going to perform well in the interview? I'm just putting that out there, and I'm going to like stop and I'm going to give the mic to Jess so that Rick doesn't have a heart attack over here.
How do I follow up from that? I will say also one more thing on that, just because we want to keep talking about that. It's even hard for women to talk about it with each other. So thank you for even talking about it, right? We just internalize that. Okay, Rick, it's time to change the subject. So for me, I've always been, and I think I always will be, type A workaholic, right? And I used to always blame other factors. I blame the job, I blame my boss, I blame the project, I blame whatever, right? Like I was so sleep deprived at one point where I had like left my house keys in my fridge and I left my door completely unlocked, like, you know, just stuff that I was like, what am I doing, right? Like your brain, you're not even functional. But it was always like, oh, I have to get the meeting minutes in. I have to get the agenda. I have to set up this meeting. I have to do this. I have to do this. And I used to always think I have to do X, right? It was always something, a checklist, whatever. And to kind of your point about like the raging lunatic, you become, like I said earlier, a version of yourself that you are not necessarily aligned with. And so I would go to meetings. Okay, I stayed up all night. I put together the agenda. I did all the stuff. But then I get to the meeting and I'm exhausted. I'm sleep deprived. I'm on a ton of café con leches. I'm like shaking. And I'm like a crazy person that you can't even understand. And people in the meeting are just like, what the hell is happening, right? But what I realized, what took me time, in finding that balance was it was never going to be an external factor that was going to change that for me. It was me. It was always going to be me. In all the jobs that I've changed since the bank, it's carried with me. I've been on sort of a sabbatical for the last year on my own, building my own company, working with people individually, figuring out the real estate side. And so I realized now that I'm on my own and I'm holding myself accountable, I don't have a job or a boss or a project to blame. I'm still psychotic. I still don't sleep. I still stay up late. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's me. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. But what that allows me to realize is, okay, now I'm self-aware of it. Now I know the things I need to do, right? And I did a little bit of this before I left the bank. Talking about, health. I used to go, oh my God, I have a doctor's appointment. Oh no, we have to have a meeting. I'm going to cancel the doctor's appointment. Forget about my health. It doesn't matter, right? I have to be in this meeting. But when you think about it, when you say it out loud, it's like the ridiculousness of like, do you really need to be in that meeting or do you need to like go see your doctor? And so before I left, I was just on this journey of being honest with myself, right? And saying, no, I have to be at the doctor. If this meeting cannot be moved, I will send, someone from my team. And I have to be okay with knowing, to Stephanie's point earlier, my team can handle it. I don't need to be there. Maybe it's going to be done different than I would have done it. But what's the saying? Perfect is the enemy of good. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be your way. You don't have to be there. And there are times where, let's say I was back to back in meetings and sleep deprived, and there was a meeting coming up that I knew, you know what? It's not that critical to the project timeline, right? If we don't have this meeting right now, everyone will live. And so I will make the proper mental health decision for myself and everyone else in that meeting. You know what? We're going to reschedule this. We're going to cancel this one. We don't have any updates. No one has, completed their deliverables. Let's just reschedule. And no one will remember that you, how dare she reschedule this? No, they're going to remember that you showed up to that meeting like a crazy person. Be like, what is wrong with her? They don't even care about the meeting, right? That's all they're going to remember. So put that out there, right? Like, remember, like, what's more important? Your own oxygen mask. Put that on first because you need to like be okay with you. Your quality needs to be good. They're going to live if you don't have that meeting. They're going to live if you don't show up to that meeting. And figure out what, again, I go back to boundaries and personal boundaries for yourself. Now that I'm on my own, now that I'm holding myself accountable, I just have to be like, okay, I need to go to bed. This is the time I need to go to bed. This is the time I need to wake up. If I have to take sleeping drugs, sometimes I will do that. But you have to find a way to be okay and to find that balance. That's my takeaway.
Absolutely.
What else do we not talk about, guys? A lot. For me, it wasn't until the last couple of years that I realized that I've had anxiety issues all my life. And I just thought I was a type A personality. I just thought I over worry about everything and that I got to have everything perfect because we are perfectionists, right? And we're professionals. We're kind of groomed that way. We got to make it here. We got to make it there. And I realize now that, that hyperventilation and oh my God, and the over worrying had a name. My generation really didn't grow up with that. The generation now, you've got names for everything. And, because I'm older. So now I realize, oh my God, there's a name for this. It's called, I'm having an anxiety attack, right? So it's been very rare and in between, and I could number them, but it has happened to me. And so the work-life balance and being able to, as a professional woman, and have spent time with my family and work out, and now it's just breathe. Like, it's amazing what just taking a few breaths before you walk into a situation, before you do something that's important, that's stressing you out. For me right now, it's all about breathing. I do my yoga, my hot yoga, my meditation, right? Those are the things that are personally helping me as an individual, but it's because of that, right? And I'm older now, and I'm like, I got to take care of myself. When I was young, we bombard ourselves. We just roll with the flow, and it's one thing right after the other. We don't stop. But it's really, really important. So work-life balance for you guys as well. Please take time to breathe, because everybody has the same type of pressures that we all share together. Awesome. So our last topic of the evening, and we're gonna do kind of like a flash through this one, is leadership. We're here to talk about leadership. We are all leaders. All of you here, all of you online, we are all leaders. That's why you're here, because you're here to learn, right? You're leaders in whichever role you have, regardless of your title. So we're going to do a quick exercise. We're going to get up, and because of the time as well. Tell us a leadership trait. We're going to get up here in the room, okay? And can we see the people online, Rick? That would be wonderful. And that way the folks here in the room, you guys could see the people online. And the exercise in the room is just go around, and we're going to say a leadership trait or characteristic that either you embody or that somebody that you admire embodies, that's important to you, that makes a big difference. And one word, we're going to step back. I want you guys to step back. Okay? And get your chairs out of the way. Get your chairs out of the way. Yeah, we're into some hot yoga. Downward dog. Okay. All right, let me get you some water. All right, we're good. There, exactly. Okay, so we're each gonna say a word, and if you resonate with that word, I want you to step forward, okay? Each person is gonna say a word. All right, everybody step back. And if that word resonates with you, step forward. For you guys online, how do we do this? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Okay? All right. So I'll go ahead and get started, and we'll pass the mic around. For me, my leadership trait is servant leadership. All right. Awesome. Okay. Now we're going to go back again. Okay. Yeah, go back again. Yeah.
I guess you took mine. So this is hard. I'm gonna say tenacity.
Okay. I'm with you on tenacity. Come on. Okay.
I gotta Google that one.
For me, it would be empathy. Did I steal yours? Just use a synonym.
Oh gosh, helping.
Humility.
Ooh, that's a good one. For me, my leadership trait would be always challenging that individual.
I stepped up on myself.
Humbleness.
Sensitive.
Play by the example.
Bring the best out of everyone.
Patience.
For me, example.
For me, is consistently. Do it consistently and you will succeed and help others.
Does it say authentic?
Encouraging. Motivational.
Trust.
Supportive.
Meeting them where they're at.
All right. Great job. Any comments online? Anybody wants to share?
The mic online. Melu, any comments there?
Not really. I just read, for example, candidness, honesty, transparency, championship or champion, not champion.
All right. Great. So I know we're a little bit over time. The ladies are here. Please come up to her, ask them any questions. We've got food. We've got lots of wine, lots of food. Any last words?
So I see that there's a person online, Michael Wagner from South Africa. Can I get your contact info? Because I'm gonna be in Cape Town in October, and I would love to connect with the IT world in Cape Town.
I'll make it happen.
Awesome.
Yes. I'm hooking up my vacation.
I'll leave you with one more book, The 4 Agreements. Be impeccable with your words, so always kind to yourself and to others. Don't take it personal. What others do is usually about them, not about you. Don't make assumptions, right? Don't assume that what they were saying was, gonna create an interaction or you have to be defensive. And number 4, my favorite, always do your best, and your best will change from time to time. Your best when you're sick or having a hot flash is not always going to be the same when you're not sick. So just remember that.
And be the change that you want to see in others. It starts with you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Great job. Thank you guys online. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next Saturday and next Wednesday. Rick, anything?
Great job again. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Saturday. Excellent job. Have a great day. I think there's a lot of food out there, and I'll get some wine for you guys as well. Okay.
Rick, stop saying that, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Yes. Hey, we'll send it to you guys. I don't know if it'll work out in the mail, but
not fair, Rick. Not fair.
Hey guys, what an amazing event. Again, thank you guys for joining us remotely. Now, one of the things that for me were the most amazing part of this presentation was the emotional connection. If you've never been to one of these events where women are actually leading this, it is amazing, guys. There's applause every single, talk. So that's how connected they are. So this is a really amazing event. So Regina, great job. I learned more about Regina today than I have in a lifetime. Just understand. So I'm going to have more events like this just to get to know her better. All right. So we love you guys. Thank you for supporting us. And let's keep growing the community.